Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunchtime with Demons. I'm Abella and I'm here with Ryan Stone. And today we're going to do a shorter episode than usual, but it's still an episode nonetheless. And today's episode is on intuition.
Topic I think that never has it's always a prevalent topic I think for everybody that does this kind of work.
It is. How are
So I
you
feel like
doing,
it's
Ryan?
I'm doing good. Lots of fun changes and things coming up and I'll be sharing more of here in the near future. So I'm
Okay, I was going to
excited for
say,
that.
because have you shared your good news?
I haven't yet. I wanted to kind of completely feel comfortable where that's all
Hmm.
at, and then yeah, I'll make announcements about it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait. Um, but yeah, so today we're talking about intuition. And I it doesn't seem like a topic that would be loaded, but I think that it is because a lot of the times we we have incredible intuition that we ignore. And then we also have uh, patterns of thought that we need to break because they are old patterns that are no longer serving us that we then claim as intuition and they're wrong and they end up holding us back or keeping us from taking risks on ourselves or from even connecting with other people or having fulfilling relationships. So how do we navigate intuition? I think it's a really great topic because there's so many different facets to intuition, more so than just going on TikTok and looking at a video where someone holds a card and goes, "Okay, I'm holding a card. What is behind this card?" Because I mean, I'm on Zoom right now with Ryan and I'm holding a card. So if you want to play this game, we can play this game right now if you are watching this episode instead of just listening to this episode. Or you know what? Fuck it. If you're listening too, we could play this game. If I'm holding a card, what card is in your mind? What card comes to mind? I want to show you something about intuition that I don't think a lot of people talk about, and I actually think I can do it through this exercise. So, Ryan, you're going to be my test dummy for this because Ryan is an incredible psychic, and I want to show you the nuances of intuition. Okay, so Ryan, don't tell me what the card is, and I can assure you, he and I have not talked about this. I know you probably don't believe us. You're like bullshit, but like still.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were gonna pull this. This is awesome.
He has no idea that I'm gonna do this. Okay, so I'm holding a tarot card. Tell me like what kind of comes to mind when you think about this tarot card? And I don't want you to tell me like cups or swords or whatever. I don't want you to tell me anything about the suits, nothing about the card. I just want you to tell me like what comes to mind. Like if there's something that comes to mind, whether it's like a symbol, a feeling, um, an emotion, a thought. And
Uh,
for our
oh,
listeners, sorry to interrupt you, Ryan. For our listeners, I want you to be thinking this too. Like, what are you thinking about right now as I'm holding this card? What are you thinking about?
First thing that came in for me was actually kind of like a color orange and yellowish.
Hmm.
And I would say kind of like the sun, but I don't feel like it's the sun.
Hmm.
But in that like glow, that's what the word I'm looking for, like as like a glow for some reason for me. And emotion wise, feeling very grounded in
Mm,
it. That's all offhand.
okay. I'm curious. Like, I wish our audience could respond, but I want our audience to be clocking what they're feeling. And now I want you to think about like elements, like fire, water, air, but don't earth. Don't say the element. I don't want you to think out loud. I want you to think to yourself. And I want you to think about what this element sounds like. Don't see it, hear it, as if you're sitting in front of it. So if it's water, it would sound like a brook, right? If it's fire, it would sound like a crackling fire. If it's earth, it could sound like the dirt beneath your feet when you walk. And if it's air. It could sound like the wind blowing past your ears. I just want you to think about that. Take a moment, think about this card. Hmm. And okay, and one more thing. So if you were to interact with this card, if you were to have like an interaction with this card, and this person on this card, this fool, if you were to interact with them, what do you think that interaction would feel like? And I want you to just like intuitively roll with that. What would it feel like? Would they be kind? Would they be like what is their energy like? Ryan, what do you think?
What I think the card is, or
No, no, no. What do you think that your exchange would be with this?
the exchange would be very calming, very soothing.
Mm. Does that go along with the element too that you felt?
Yes.
Mm. Well, my friends, it is the Knight of Cups. And I would say he is very calm. He's very soothing. He's very suave. That's what the Knight of Cups is. He's very suave. He's very charming. He's very debonair. He does not move fast on his horse. He does not need to. But he knows what he's doing and he knows how to do it. And my card is black and white, but if it wasn't black and white, those colors that you were saying are typically the colors of the card. Um, so the colors that you were bringing up would have been the colors of this card. If it was not a black and white deck. But yeah, all of those things. I'm curious, like at home, if you're listening and you felt that it was maybe water. But here's the thing. This is what's really fascinating about this card is you can see that there's also like mountains behind him and like a river, and he's on a horse. So really all of the elements are involved.
Technically.
And he is really charming. He is really grounded, but he's also on a horse. So he's also like he's He's the Casanova of the knights. So there is this fiery energy to him as well. So I just wanted to do this exercise with you guys because intuition is so much more than just being able to say, "Oh, it was the Knight of Cups." Being able to say it's the Knight of Cups does not mean that you have perfect intuition, you know? Um, So hopefully you get what I was trying to do with that little experiment there, is that I'm basically just trying to prove to you that like when you do those exercises, it's so easy to get in your head where you're like, damn it, I was supposed to guess what card it was and I didn't guess it. They said, I thought it was the magician and it was the lovers. But it's like, well, yeah, you were trying to figure out what card it was. You weren't trying to intuitively pick up on what that card represents, on what that card could have been, not exactly what the name was. Yeah, and it's true. Of course, there's a chance that you can just pick up on, the fact that it is the magician. But that's not always that's not always best. Especially as a medium when you're doing a reading for someone, I want to be able to pick up on the nuances, on those nuance messages and energies that come in of my client. I don't just want to pick up on the direct messages that are clear, because some of the more, I think, important and vulnerable and truly connected messages are not, they're in the details. They're in the fine print. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, totally. I mean, into like the intuition part that you bring up, like thinking about like how those particular things I brought up relate for me. Like when I was saying grounding and calming, water is like one of the most calming things for me ever. And so to me that, that jives when I start to think about like the element and what I was hearing and feeling. So yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of people when I say grounding go straight to earth. I don't automatically
Mhm.
say that just because that was the feeling and the emotion like you were talking about. So I think also keeping in mind like how you relate to those things and those elements of what's coming in or, to help as well.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all in how you interpret something. And along those lines, just to, since we're already talking about it, your interpretation of things does not always make something right.
It's just a perspective.
I say that with love. Um, and that's something to consider with your intuition is that sometimes our intuition is so heavily based on our bias and how we perceive the world around us and our opinions and the opinions of our parents and the people around us and our family and our friends and our coworkers and blah 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 and so then you get this kind of uh what's the word? You get this little nudge and you're so sure. You're so sure. But you're not taking into consideration the possibility of projection, of hypervigilance, of patterns, pattern recognition. Mm-hmm. There's all of those things that also play a massive part in our so-called intuition. And it does take a lot of time to be able to discern the two. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of practice to be able to discern, to have really clear discernment between your intuition and all of those other things that I mentioned. Because for the most part, your gut feeling, unless you are actively working on it, unless you are actively being coached or coaching yourself on that discernment within your own intuition, unless you are doing that, your gut feeling is probably wrong to some degree or heavily influenced by something else. And it's so easy. This is something I really wish people knew how easy it is to manipulate something that happens to fit your narrative.
Yep, happens. I mean, that's why I often say the stories we tell ourselves.
Mm,
And that, I mean, that's very much to me a part of that is the stories that we create for ourselves live in those things that have been built into us.
yep.
And I think as you challenge yourself to learn and grow through those biases, even if you're still working with them, at least when you become aware of them, it gives you the ability to see those projections within what's coming in for yourself more aptly, I think.
Mm, hmm. Exactly. And it's not to say that like you don't have amazing clear abilities or that, you're not tapped in, tuned in, and connected to the divine. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that you're human. Surprise, it sucks. We know. And being human is rough. It's rough out here. It's ghetto in these streets. We get it, and it fucking sucks. And you've been hurt, you've been betrayed, you've been all the things. You name it, you've experienced it. And you've been made to feel so many horrible things by so many people. And so we track these things. There's a reason. There's a very famous book called The Body Keeps Score. We track these things. We keep score. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. And it's not a good thing when it comes to our intuition. Because here's a really good example. There a couple years ago. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I hate when that happens when you realize how old you are. Oh my gosh. No. It's fine. I'm happy to age. I'm pleased to age. By the way, I'm wearing my pajamas right now. Live. Um, but I I'm pleased to age. I like aging. I Anyway, it was roughly 15 or 16 years ago. I had a run-in with someone, and I won't say their name, but we'll make up a name. Let's call her hmm, California. There's a postcard next to my desk that says California. We're gonna call her California. So I met California at church, and my ex at the time was like, she's so nice. She's this, she's that. She's so talented. She's an amazing opera singer. She's this, she's all these things. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm so excited to meet her. And then I met her, and she was all those things. She was so nice. She was so wonderful. She was so kind, so generous, so like, so all those things. She's an incredible singer. Um, we had so much in common. We just kind of like had very like how do I explain this? We had very different upbringings, have lived very different lives, but had very similar perspectives on how people should be treated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, yes, we came from two totally different walks of life, but in the end, we both were in the same spot. But there was this tiny bit of resistance in me towards her. And I got really triggered. My ex said something to me. We were at my house, our house, and he said something to me, and I got so triggered. And I was like, she's fake. I said that. I was like, she's fake. And he looked at me and he was like, she's not fake. He was like, you're just insecure. And I was so pissed. I was like, fuck you. I was like, no, I will fucking prove it to you. I was like, she is fake. There is something about her that is phony as shit, and I will figure it out. I will figure it out. And then I got sick. I got sick that next week. I had the flu really bad. He went to church and she had asked where I was, and he told her that I got sick. Well, later on that day, she had come over with this soup. This, oh my God, till today, Miss California, ma'am, that soup was amazing. I will never forget it. And I ate the whole pint, and it just made me feel so much better. And it was clearly handmade chicken noodle soup. It was so delicious. And a week went by, and I was like, okay, I really need to make an effort with this person that I keep calling fake, and I need to stop doing that. So I asked her to like come for a walk with me in Central Park. And so we're walking through Central Park. I was living on the Upper West Side at this time in New York City, and we're walking through the park, and we're just talking about life. And again, I realized like we have so much in common, and we really, really just like love the world, and we love people, and she's just such a lovely person. And I was so grateful for that soup. And then it dawned on me that that phoniness that I was really, really, really determined to detect in her was in me. I was the phony one. I was insecure. I was insecure. I really felt like there was something about her that I couldn't just admire because it took from me. Like it took it away from me because I was the opera singer. I was the classical singer. I was the nice one. I was the one that did all these things for people. I was the one that like everyone went to when they needed something. Suddenly I wasn't the one. Suddenly I had like duo competition for talent and kindness with California. And I thought she was phony because I was being phony. I was being her friend, but I was also being her friend, comparing myself to her. Comparison is the thief of joy, my friends, the greatest thief of joy. Number one. Number two, that entire time I was so determined to prove what she was, who she was. It was a mirror. She was a mirror for me to see my own insecurity. And I was so sure. I was so sure it was my intuition, but it wasn't. It was myself and my patterns. And I was in my 20s. You know what I mean? Like, and a child. And sorry, I'm not calling people in their 20s a child, but I very much like when I look back at myself in my 20s, I think that my maturity level was very, very, very low, and I was still very much not someone that understood myself or had an opportunity to. So, I like to share that story when it comes to intuition because I was so sure that I was gonna like figure her out. Nowadays, at 40, I am sure. I have a fucking radar like you wouldn't believe. I can watch you lie to my face for like 30 minutes and smile at you and walk away and know that you lied to me. And I'm fine with it. I don't care anymore. But it took a very long time to get to this place where I have this super duper lie detector. The irony is that you have to become a different person. That person back then didn't have a lie detector and wouldn't have a lie detector because I would have abused it. I needed to learn that it's not something that somebody needs. It should never be used against someone. Someone's choice to lie to you is their choice. But back then I would have used it. Now I have this handy dandy lie detector that I do nothing with. I just watch someone lie to me and then go, "Wow, I thought they actually liked me." Okay. And then I walk away. It's okay. There's a lot of people that like tell me they're my friends that are not my friends, but it's okay. It's okay. I still want them to eat, just not at my table.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Though I do think that when you come to a place where you can see people so clearly, it comes with the ability to truly just see people.
Hmm.
And I think it allows you to just realize that that's where they're at. That's who
Hmm.
they are. That's part of them just as much as you have brown hair and blue eyes. Well, you also have this, this, and this, and that's fine. And that's where you're at in your journey. It doesn't align for me. You know, it's
Yeah.
okay.
You also get that super skill when you know yourself.
Oh, it comes from knowing yourself and being willing to hold that mirror up to yourself. I mean, honestly, I
Hmm.
think that's where it comes from the most, and not be overly critical with yourself either.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets worse. As soon as I started to like let go of self-criticism and really start to like myself, then my lie detector got even worse. And I was like, oh, I hate that. I hate that. Got even harder. Hmm. Oh, that's okay. It's okay. Because I also learned that sometimes people say things that they don't mean because they don't even know they don't mean it. They're still
True.
figuring it out.
Yeah, and that's like I said. I think part of their like that's where their journey is. It's kind of like having that perception of like in like I'll use an example of like within the occult work of that I still see angels under this umbrella and this and that, and that's my truth for now. But it's just my perspective. And so later, when I learned that, at least for me, that angels aren't something that were ever, a part of that or demonized like everything else, now that perspective has changed dramatically from where it was before. And now I have this ability to see that when I see other people in that place, and I can go, you have a journey to go, my friend.
Mhm. I hope that this f sounds. I can feel this right now. Call it intuition. I can feel that someone is sitting here going like, "Fuck." Like they feel it. Like they feel it from people that are around them where they're like, "Yeah, but I can feel it. I can feel when people are insincere. I can feel it." And I challenge you like I'm not saying you don't. You may be able to feel when someone is insincere. But riddle me this. Consider that they're not insincere, they're insecure. Consider that they're uncomfortable with the situation at hand and they're making up for it. And a lot of the times, people don't know how to think outside of themselves. They really don't. It's not a skill that just comes. It's not a skill that our parents teach us. It's a skill that you have to choose to nurture. It's a skill that you have to want to foster, and then you have to maintain. And then the way that you get this skill is through your own work on yourself. And I don't mean shadow work, I mean your own work with your opinion on yourself, removing your own self-hatred, your own insecurities to get to a place where you genuinely feel like good in your skin that you can take up space. If you don't like being perceived and you do not feel good in your skin and you are not comfortable taking up space in a room, you are not someone that can stand there and say, I feel that these people, all these people are insincere. And I can base it on my intuition. You're projecting. That's my perspective on that. You are projecting. People are typically doing the best that they can. People are typically good. It is very rare. I interact with thousands of people all the time. All the time. And it is very, very rare that I meet someone that is like actively trying to be harmful to someone else or actively trying to hurt someone else. It is so rare. Um, when it does happen, it's typically the tipping point has already happened. They're far past the crest of a situation and they're moving downhill at a rapid rate and they want to feel just in what they've already experienced previous. And so it's almost like a bull in a china shop is typically when someone is really acting out in that type of way. But it is so rare that somebody just does that from the get. The people in my life that I know that behave that way, and trust me, I swear to you on everything, I know people that act like this. I know people that turn on people on the fucking dime. Like, I know a lot of people, and they're very, very, very close to me. Well, not anymore because I put space between me and them. But I grew up around a lot of people that will turn on people on a fucking dime. Hear me? Like, those people that do that, the reason why they're doing it is not even because of the other person. They are triggered. They are triggered by something the other person has done. They do not have the skills for self-regulation. And so they lash out.
Yeah.
It is not your intuition telling you that they're trying to hurt you. They're casting on you. You'll hear that a lot in the witch community. They're hexing you. They might be. That's fine. Who cares? They're doing all these things. Okay. Your intuition's telling you that they hate you. They're this, they're that. They're coming for you. Whatever your paranoia is kind of creating that, it's cooking it up. Let me tell you what you're really feeling. You're feeling their descent into their own paranoia, their own trigger, their own spiral of not knowing how to manage what you've made them feel. In other words, you held up a mirror, they looked in it, they don't like what they see, and they're about to smash it. Your intuition is picking up on that. That doesn't even still, it doesn't make them a bad person. It makes them not qualified to regulate themselves. And that's someone that you shouldn't be friends with, someone that you should walk away from. So whether they're your friends or family, you should not have them in your life because it's going to happen again and again and again and again and again and again until they put themselves into some sort of therapy or some sort of help where they learn how to self-regulate. And the way you really learn how to foster and nurture this understanding is by knowing how to regulate yourself. So you can see when they're going to tip. And even then, you can ask one of my best friends about this. There's a story that I won't share. I've personally been attacked by someone and I saw them tipping and I had a friend with me when it happened, and I did everything I could. I pulled every motherfucking skill I have out of my tool belt, and I have a lot. I have a lot of skills for self-regulation, co-regulation. I have so many skills for regulation. As a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, as a person, as a woman, as a mother, I have so many skills. I whipped them out and I just couldn't stop this person. I couldn't. The trigger was too big. It was too bad. It went downhill too fast. And they came for my throat. They came for blood. And there was nothing I could do. And let me tell you, in the end, this person is not a bad person. I now know that I am triggering to them and I cannot be in their life because my very presence is a trigger for them. And they are not going to do the work. So I have to protect my own peace and remove myself. You're probably wondering how the fuck this has to do with intuition, but it has everything to do with intuition. Because in that moment when all of this was happening, you want to know what happened? Intuitively, I had the thought, I have to stop the car. I'm driving. I have to stop the car. It's going to go bad. It's going to escalate. Even though it wasn't, it hadn't escalated. Nothing happened. But I knew it. That's intuition. That's the difference. I had to get the intuition was coming in clear. It was telling me this is going to escalate. Whether you have the the skills or not, baby girl, and you do. And I love that you think you have enough skills to fix this one. You're not going to do it. But you should try. You've got to get out of the car because you're going to have a panic attack. And I was like, understood. So I immediately turned around, headed back home. I'm so glad that I did because by the time we got to the house, it had escalated so bad that the doors flung open. There was screaming outside of the car. It was terrible. I ended up, excuse me, in a full-blown panic attack and then had to leave and drive 8 hours to get the fuck out of there. So we need our intuition. We need our spidey senses. And we also need to be able to discern when a spidey sense is a spidey sense and when we're dealing with the human condition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that phrase? Know thyself.
Yeah. Right? Because also, if you're someone that is really scared of failure, and for instance, like we were talking about moving recently, our lease came up, and I was at dinner with my roommates. We're talking about it, and Garrett had made a comment, and Kim had made a comment. I'm gonna throw Kim under the bus, but I know she won't mind this at all. But Kim was like, "Well, I know, but if we move here, I would need to get new winter tires." And I was like, "It's spring." And she was like, "Oh yeah, fuck that. Who cares about winter tires? Fucking spring. Get in the present moment." And she like snapped out of it so fast and was like, "Get in the fucking present moment. Get back, Kim." And I was like, "Yeah, girl, live." Because she's so, like we need that. We need our friends to like to remind us like, "Hey, you're concerned about something that's too far in the present. Like in the future, stay in the present." And once I did that, it cleared up the noise. All that winter tires. Can I do this? Do I need this? Do I need that? Blah, blah, blah. It's noise. It's noise in your head telling you to worry about this, telling you to worry about that, telling you to worry about my job, this, whatever. No, stay in the present moment. Do you need to do this right now? Is this move going to make you happy? Is this place that we just looked at, is this the place that you want to wake up in and look out the window? Is this going to do it? Because if it's going to do it, let's do it. You know what I mean? And that's what you need is to clear out the noise in order for intuition to be able to come in because it is a very soft voice. Intuition is not loud. It will never be loud, even in those moments of like heightened emotion. It's not loud, it's clear. There's a difference between volume and clarity. A lot of people are loud. Don't seek volume, seek clarity. And a lot of people will talk themselves in circles. Yeah, we'll just leave that there.
Yeah, that's a hard narrative to work on, honestly, knowing that those things are just noise that have been built into you.
Hmm.
Those are those loops, those are those cycles that, make you feel like that's your intuition because it's familiar. And that's the shit part of it is that it feels familiar, so it feels right when it's just old baggage.
Exactly. Exactly. And it comes back not to remind you that, oh, excuse me, not to remind you of like your failures or to tell you that you haven't done X, Y, or Z or that you haven't that you're not accomplished. It's only coming back because it's scared. It comes back, it's fear. It's seeking comfort. And when it comes back, that resistance you feel to it, where you're like, ooh, I don't like the way that feels, that's good. That's your body saying, oh, that's not in alignment with me anymore. That doesn't resonate with me anymore. And then you can respond back and be like, actually, you know what? I don't need to worry about those winter tires like she did. And you just let it go. Because not all thoughts are meant to be stored in your brain as important. I think we
Oh,
talked about that a little bit on the other podcast episode, but not everything is meant to be important. Not every thought is meant to be important. Let thoughts come to you. You don't have to search for them either. Don't ruminate. And then you make room for intuition. You make room for that voice, that quiet voice, those intuitive thoughts.
for myself, that's part of like my meditation practice all these years that helped me with just handling thoughts that come in while I'm meditating. And giving them their space and then letting them move on and doing this over years and years, it helped formulate that aspect of like living life that way.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's also something that people don't realize is that like excuse me, in meditation, when you are meditating, not just with the divine, but just in general, when you're being actively mindful with yourself throughout your day, those thoughts that drop into your head, those clear, cognizant knowings, that's your intuition. Coming in clutch. Hmm. But it is easy though to try and attach a narrative to everything and a meaning to everything very fast. We love to do that. It makes us feel it gives us a little button. It ties everything up. It goes like, yeah, that had a reason. Another good example is like we looked at this house. This house was perfect for us, and I still don't know if we're gonna move there, but it was perfect for us. And basically, oh my gosh, excuse me, my throat is so clogged. But when we were walking out, this baby bat had like a broken wing, and it was on the street. And the neighbors were like, "Hey, what do you think we should do with this?" And they were looking at the bat. They didn't pick it up or anything, but they were just looking at it. And they were like, "What do you think we should do with this?" And we were like, "With what?" And they were like, "It's a bat. We found this bat." And they were like, "We were gonna pick it up and throw it in the trash can. What do you think?" And I was like, "What?" Me, Kim, and like Garrett were like, "What are you talking about?" Like, that's a joke, right? Even Juniper was like, "You're gonna put a bat in a trash can?" Like, why would you put an animal in a it's alive. It's hurt, but it's alive, you know? And they were like, "Yeah, its wing is broken, so we thought we should just throw it in the trash." And I was like, "No." And they were like, "Well, every time we put it on the sidewalk, like out in the like every time we put it on the side, it comes back into the street." And I'm like, "Well, what direction is it trying to go?" And it was trying to go towards like the tree. the big tree. And I think it's because there was other bats inside the tree. So I grabbed my hoodie and I picked it up, and the bat was like screaming at me, of course. And I like picked it up and I walked it over to where the tree was and I put it down, and then he like crawled really fast towards the tree. And yes, he was hurt, but like he'll be okay, or he won't. And nature does what nature does. But a trash can is not the answer. Um, but I had this moment with the bat. We all had a moment with the bat. Everyone there had their own thought and moment about this bat situation because that's what humans do. We love to make a narrative around a situation. So Kim's moment was, do we move here? Is it a sign? That's a sign. We're not supposed to move here. There's fucking crazy neighbors that throw bats in trash cans while they're awake and alive. Like, don't move here. Garrett said something about like the school. He was like, those would be kids that Junie would be going to school with. Like, those are the type of people. Juniper was like, Mama, why would they put a bat in a trash can? That's weird. Um, and then my thing was really weird. Um, was like, as I picked up the bat, it was screaming at me. And I was like, okay, okay, I know, I know. I get it. Like it's your wing probably hurts. You've been picked up a couple times. You probably just want to like be left alone. Um, and then I kept telling it as I was walking, I was like, oh, okay, it's okay, it's okay. And then it dawned on me that this bat is so tiny. It's the size of my palm. And I am a giant person. Well, I'm only 5 foot, but like to this bat, I'm a giant. And I'm holding it. It's hurt. And all it has to defend itself is its tiny little squeak. And it is squeaking hard. And so I was like, I went from being like, it's okay, or like to shushing it to being like, you tell me, you tell it as it is. You let me have it. Let me have it. I can take it. I deserve it. I'm going to put you down. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to back up. And I'm going to back up. And as I was backing up, I was like, yes, you're right. You're right. I learned my lesson. I will never come near you again. You win. Thank you for teaching me. Like, it was just like, it was such a different moment where I was like, I really felt, I really felt like I learned a lesson from this. So it's really interesting how, like, one of us felt like it was an omen not to move there. The other one felt like it was a warning that this might be a rough situation. The other one was just like, that's weird. And then I was like, I had a whole fucking parable about, leave it to me, of course. I had a whole parable about like small things and, like respecting their voice. And maybe this would be like a place where I learned to have a bigger voice in a small body. And we all went to lunch and sat down and talked about the house and whether or not we're going to move, and we still don't know. Um, if anyone wants to just randomly drop $5,000 in my bank account, thank you. Um, to make that move easier for me, I'd appreciate it. But yeah, I'll pay you back in um troll high fives. But no, it's truly like we're still discussing it and trying to figure out if that's going to be the right move for us. But it and I think it might be, but who knows? But I think the point of me telling the story is that we all walked away from it intuitively confused, intuitively fucking completely confused, unsure of whose intuition was right. And it's so personal and subjective, is it not? Um, is it not? But yeah, I wanted to share that. It's wild.
It's interesting though. I have definitely in the last year really became a little bit more communicative with animals like that. And Funny enough, I think it is very much like that, like kind of putting yourself in their perspective or
Hmm.
trying to see through their perspective as a, an animal and what's going on for them potentially and trying to see that difference in size and, those kind of things. And then also kind of communicating kind of in visuals I found is really helpful when working with animals is that instead of trying to say things to them, I try to present pictures of what I'm wanting or doing with them in a sort of acted out way that helps as well.
That's clever. That's very clever. If we moved to this house, we would live in the woods, and that's what I've been kind of seeking for a
Yeah.
while. And so we would be around a lot of bats and a lot of bears, and there was chickens in the yard, and there would, it would be very much, it would be a really solid move for me, I think. So we're
Not a
gonna,
big fan of insects, and when you say little small bats, I'm like, yes, they will eat all the annoying, terrible little insects. So
they're
that was actually,
so.
I'll give you my narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, sure, that's great. A colony of bats in a tree nearby. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of bats. It's a lot of animals up there in the mountain. A lot of
I'm
animals.
like that though. I really love being in as close to nature. One of my favorite places I ever lived was a cabin in the mountains here in Colorado, and it
Mhm.
was rustic as hell, but and it wasn't easy living because it's just hard in the winters, but it was the most amazing place I think I've ever lived in my life.
Mm. I love that. I love that. This place has this giant window in the dining room that is like almost floor to ceiling, and it looks out to the backyard, and it's level with the backyard, but the backyard then is elevated. It goes up. So it kind of feels like you're underground looking up.
Oh no.
And it's really neat. It's really neat. And it has a seat. And so you could sit there and like have your breakfast there or read a book there. It's really nice. They have some other people interested in it, so we would have to apply and like see if we kind of beat them out. But that's a whole other situation. It's just been a hard month, honestly. I finished Numos. So everyone
Yay.
listening, Numos is done.
So
Numos
excited.
is being edited, and hopefully I can get Numos in your hands sooner than later. And you're going to see a lot of things about Numos coming up soon because I'm just so smitten over this book, and I really, really, really want to get it to you. Um, but I think I just had a lot of things I needed to like accomplish this month, and I'm like at the end of it, and so like I think moving on top of that just sounded like horrible. So, but I
Sometimes you
do,
got to minimize the things you're tackling at a time.
yeah, but I do see it in the somewhat near future. Um, but it'll be the right place when it's the right place, you
Sure.
know? My intuition will tell me, I'm sure.
I was gonna say that's actually like when we were talking about water earlier, is I feel so much like when I feel that state of flow, I know that it's my intuition feels aligned with where I'm needing to go and be and that continuity, like even when I'm driving, this is like one of my favorite areas to practice if you're ever looking for a fun tool. As drive, I try to drive very intuitively, not just with like where I'm going and what turns I'm taking, but even the cars and the things around me. I'm like, and some of it is probably somewhat pattern recognition, but also at the same time, there are things that happen on the road that I couldn't discern from just looking at their vehicle and the way that they're driving that tells me that they're about to do something really stupid and I should give them some space.
Smart.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of my fun favorite ways to practice. This is also why I've had other really odd occurrences, I think, too, when I drive, just because I kind of get in this semi-mindful state while I'm driving.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good though, because like being in that state while driving can keep you safe.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it makes me a much safer driver and safer for avoiding the craziness that is Denver traffic, which is probably like weird, one of the weirdest places I've ever driven in my life. And I've driven a lot of places. I've even driven in New Zealand.
And Denver's worse.
Yeah, it's just weird. I think there's just too many people from so many different places that everybody drives like they do from where they're at, and so there's no continuity. Whereas like in a bigger city, I think there's a tendency to be like certain rules of the road and how people drive, and there's a continuity to that. There really is nothing like that here.
I felt that very much in Phoenix.
I could see that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Phoenix was just really horrible drivers. Um, anyways. Well, this was a nice episode. I
Yeah, it makes
enjoyed
sense.
talking about intuition. I hope that it made sense for people and that, it just gives you something else to think about when you're thinking about intuition that you're not just thinking about. My goal with you, just to like soapbox for just a second, my goal with you is never to just let you look at something through the lens of like witchy woo woo. You are a human having a human experience. And so you really need to look at everything through the lens of your mental health, of your physical health, of the world around you, because it does affect your woo-woo. And if you want your woo-woo to be squeaky clean and to feel good and to feel authentic and to feel honest and ethical, then you have to look at all the pieces, all the moving parts. And intuition is definitely one of them. It is not just some spidey sense that comes out of nowhere when it is also greatly affected by other facets of your psyche. And so I know you don't always love, I feel like a lot of people don't love when I bring up these topics because they're like, you're saying that my intuition isn't very good. And that's not what I'm saying. I just want to show you how to make it even better, how to make it more clear. That's all.
Totally. I mean, Satan showed me earlier, funny when you first started talking about it. I don't know, for those that wear glasses, that you've had this experience where you're going all day looking through your glasses, everything's fine, you see just fine, and then you take them off at the end of the day and you're like, how the hell have I been looking through this all day long? Because my glasses are
Mhm.
filthy. But
Yes,
your mind has made it feel like it's completely clear and everything is fine, but yet you're looking through all of those things that were on your glasses and you didn't realize it until you took the moment to look at them and then try to clean them off the best you can. But you have to
perfect.
do it all the time. You have to keep looking at those glasses. You have to keep checking them.
Yep. Keep cleaning them. Keep cleaning those lenses. All right, dolls. Love you so much. Have a really fun week. Stay safe, stay sane. We'll see you next week. Bye, Ryan.
Bye. See you next week.